Good morning, students. In this lecture, I will be dealing with the essay The Great Indian Paradox by Shashi Tharoor. Shashi Tharoor begins this essay by saying that when he was at school in Mumbai in the late 1960s, a survey was conducted or managed in certain schools that were selected around the world. So riddles or puzzles were given to students aged 11 and 12 in order to solve. The aim of this survey was to study the attitudes, that is a way of thinking about gender. The gender is the role of a male or female in society. Sometimes a person's genetically assigned sex does not line up with their gender identity, and these individuals are referred to as transgenders, non-binary or gender non-conforming. The purpose of the survey was to study about the attitudes to gender, but it was intentionally not done. He is saying that he does not remember much about the test, but one question has stayed or remained in his mind. So, respondents, that is a person who replies to something, especially one supplying information for a questionnaire. So, these students, here the respondents are the students. So, these students were asked to reply, or they were told a story and the story entered in a riddle or a puzzle. The story is that a man is driving an automobile with his father. They met with a serious accident and the father was seriously injured and his son was not injured. And the son was eagerly waiting outside the operation theatre. So suddenly a doctor comes out and hugs him and cries. The doctor cried saying, my son, my son. The question is how this injured man is related to the doctor. How could this man be the doctor's son? So many people were surprised and confused. They were not certain about how to react. So people were so confused that they were thinking whether this man who was seriously injured had made a miraculous or an extraordinary recovery, or whether he had died on the operation table and is it his ghost that has appeared. So it is very clear that the surgeon is his mother. So Tharoor is saying that the Indian students knew it and it was not a puzzle for them because the first woman doctor in India graduated in 1890s and the Indian students who got this puzzle in the 1960s were not perplexed or puzzled. They were not at all surprised. So he's saying that over 90% of them made it right. So this was the case in India, but in other countries the case or situation was different. Statistical data, the percentage of students who gave right response to the questionnaire are given. So in Sweden, the right answer was given by 30% of students. In UK, it was 12%, and in US, it was only 5% of students who gave the right answer. The students were not lacking common sense, but they could not think about a situation where a woman is a surgeon. അവർക്ക് കോമൺ സെൻസ് ഇല്ലാതെ ആയിട്ടല്ല, ബട്ട് അവർക്ക് ഒരിക്കലും ഒരു വുമൺ ഒരു സർജൻ ആണ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ഡോക്ടർ ആണ് എന്നൊരു കാര്യം ചിന്തിക്കാൻ കൂടി കഴിയുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല. So next, Tharoor is talking about an incident based on a report he saw in the International Society of Women Airline Pilots. In India, the percentage of the women piloting commercial airlines were the highest. So India, women pilots inde ennam koodudalaayirunnu. But if we take the number of women piloting across the world as a whole, it only that is only 1 out of every 20 flights is flown by women pilots. അതായത് 20 ഫ്ലൈറ്റ്സ് എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിൽ ഒരെണ്ണം മാത്രമേ വിമൻ പറക്കുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നുള്ളൂ. So in India, it is double the world average. How many fully qualified women pilots are there in India? There are 1,092 women pilots who are highly qualified. That they were fully qualified. And 12.4% of the total number of 8,797 Desi pilots. So he is saying that this number has doubled in 4 years since 2014 and by 2022 this number may be doubled. The global or the world average is 5.47%. So out of 1,54,957 pilots, only 8,477 pilots are women. And 13% out of this 8,477 women pilots are from where? From India. The number of female pilots are more in India in comparison with most of the Western countries. Also 50% more than China. In China only 713 women have a commercial pilot license. One interesting data is that 385 Indian women pilots are captains. That is, they have command or control over the flights they flew. So 4.38% of all Indian pilots globally or the worldwide data shows that only 1.5% of all women pilots are captains. Tharoor says that our individual airlines, that is the Indian Airlines, came out very good. The women pilots in Indigo is 13.87%. In Britain it is only 5.9% and 7.4% is in the case of United Airlines. This does not mean that India depicts some global paragon, that is not a perfect example of a particular quality here, but in India he's saying that we have to admit that there are several lags. Here women are sentenced to hard or menial work and exploitation. Also they are paid less. So Tharoor is saying that we can call it the Indian paradox, that is the Indian contradiction. അതായത് കുറെ വിമൻ ഒത്തിരി വിമൻ അവരെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നു, അവരെ മിസ്ട്രീറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇൽ ട്രീറ്റ് ചെയ്യപ്പെടുന്നതും അവർക്ക് അൺപെയ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ലെസ് സാലറി കൊടുക്കുന്നതും ഹാർഡ് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നതുമായിട്ടുള്ള വിമൻ ഉണ്ട്. പ്ലസ് ദർ ആർ വിമൻ ഹു ആർ ഫുള്ളി ക്വാളിഫൈഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ളതും ടാലന്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ളതും, അതായത് പൈലറ്റ്സ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള മറ്റ് പല ഫീൽഡ്സിലും നിൽക്കുന്ന വിമനും ഉണ്ട്. So also there were women who were the first and best, that is in the case of lawyers. They are famous ആയിട്ടുള്ള lawyers on the women, first ആയിട്ടുള്ളതും best ആയിട്ടുള്ളതും. So CEOs, advertising agency heads, doctors, pilots and political leaders. Cornelia Sorabji, she was the first woman to earn an Oxford lawyer's degree. Indira Gandhi, as we all know, was one of the first women heads of a democratic government. This is all for today. Thank you.